Welcome to Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story, where we answer the questions you have about your favorite classic authors. What inspired your favorite author to write their novels? What was going on in the world at the time? Follow along with us as we tell you what was happening in the world while your favorite authors wrote your favorite classics. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. If you enjoy our show, be sure to follow our show so you get all the new episodes. You can catch us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or on our website, biteatatimebooksbehindthestory.com. If you would also like to hear a story by the author we're currently featuring, check out the Bite at a Time Books podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be talking about the early life of Lewis Carroll. Dodgson's family background was predominantly Northern English, conservative, and High Church Anglican. Most of his male ancestors were army officers or Anglican clergymen. His great-grandfather, Charles Dodgson, had risen through the ranks of the church to become the Bishop of Elphin in rural Ireland. His paternal grandfather, also named Charles, was an army captain, fatality of the Irish Rebellion of 1803, when his two sons were hardly more than babies. The older of these sons, yet another Charles Dodgson, was Carroll's father. He went to Rugby School and then to Christ Church, Oxford. He reverted to the other family tradition and took holy orders. He was mathematically gifted and won a double first degree, which could have been the prelude to a brilliant academic career. Instead, he became a country parson. Dodgson was born on 27 January 1832 at All Saints Vicarage in Daresdees, Cheshire, the oldest boy and the third oldest of 11 children. When he was 11, his father was given the living of Croft-on-Tees, Yorkshire, and the whole family moved to the spacious rectory. This remained their home for the next 25 years. Charles's father was an active and highly conservative cleric of the Church of England, who later became the Archdeacon of Richmond, and involved himself, sometimes influentially, in the intense religious disputes that were dividing the church. He was High Church, inclining toward Anglo-Catholicism, an admirer of John Henry Newman and the Tractarian movement, and did his best to instill such views in his children. However, Charles developed an ambivalent relationship with his father's values and with the Church of England as a whole. During his early youth, Dodgson was educated at home. His reading lists, preserved in the family archives, testify to a precocious intellect. At the age of 7, he was reading books such as The Pilgrim's Progress. He also spoke with a stammer, a condition shared by most of his siblings, that often inhibited his social life throughout his years. At the age of 12, he was sent to Richmond School, later known as Richmond Grammar School, and later integrated into the comprehensive Richmond School in Richmond, North Yorkshire. In 1846, Dodgson entered Rugby School, where he was evidently unhappy. As he wrote some years after leaving, "I cannot say that any earthly considerations would induce me to go through my 3 years again. I can honestly say that if I could have been, secure from annoyance at night, the hardships of the daily life would have been comparative trifles to bear." He did not claim he suffered from bullying, but cited little boys as the main targets of older bullies at Rugby. Stuart Dodgson Collingworth, Dodgson's nephew, wrote that, even though it is hard for those who have only known him as the gentle and retiring Don to believe it, it is nevertheless true that long after he left school, his name was remembered as that of a boy who knew well how to use his fists in defense of a righteous cause, which is the protection of the smaller boys. Scholastically, though, he excelled with apparent ease. "I have not had a more promising boy at his age since I came to Rugby," observed mathematics master R.B. Mayer. Francis Walking Games, the tutor's assistant, being a compendium of arithmetic. The mathematics textbook that the young Dodgson used still survives, and it contained an inscription in Latin which translates to, "This book belongs to Charles Ludwig Dodgson, hands off." Some pages also included annotations, such as the one found on page 129, where he wrote, "Not a fair question in decimals," next to a question. He left Rugby at the end of 1849 and matriculated at the University of Oxford in May 1850 as a member of his father's old college, Christ Church. After waiting for rooms in college to become available, he went into residence in January 1851. He had been at Oxford only 2 days when he received a summons home. His mother had died of inflammation of the brain, perhaps meningitis or a stroke, at the age of 47. His early academic career veered between high promise and irresistible distraction. He did not always work hard, but he was exceptionally gifted, and achievement came easily to him. In 1852, he obtained first-class honors in mathematics moderations and was soon afterwards nominated to a studentship by his father's old friend, Canon Edward Pusey. In 1854, he obtained first-class honors in the final honor school of mathematics, standing first on the list and thus graduated as Bachelor of Arts. He remained at Christ Church studying and teaching, but the next year he failed an important scholarship exam through his self-confessed inability to apply himself to study. Even so, his talent as a mathematician won him the Christ Church Mathematical Lectureship in 1855, which he continued to hold for the next 26 years. Despite early unhappiness, Dodgson remained at Christ Church in various capacities until his death, including that of sub-librarian of the Christ Church Library, where his office was close to the deanery where Alice Liddell lived. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story today. While we answered some of the questions you have about one of your favorite classic authors. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back next time when we answer more questions about one of your favorite classic authors. If you enjoyed our show, be sure to follow us so you get all the new episodes. We would also love for you to drop us a rating on your favorite podcast platform. You can catch us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or check out our website, biteatatimebooksbehindthestory.com. Our show is part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you would also like to hear a story by the author we are currently featuring, check out the Bite at a Time Books podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, or on biteatatimebooks.com.